at the age of 38 in a tragic car accident yesterday. Definitely hit all of us hard as wrestling fans, hit the world of pro wrestling hard, hit all the talent hard in all different companies. I mean, not only was the guy unbelievable talent in the ring, just the stories being shared around social media, you could tell what kind of great guy he was, what kind of family man he was. Prayers out to his whole family, to the Pugh family, to his wife, his daughters who are recovering from the accident, to his brother Mark, whose birthday's today. Can't imagine what he's going through.
Yeah.
Just awful. When I saw the text, Paul, first thing I did was make sure it wasn't from the fake Tony Khan account, one of the spoof accounts. When I saw it was the real one, my stomach just dropped.
Yeah, I was watching a TikTok video at the time, and it came up because I have notifications set when TK sends out a tweet, and it cut it off. It was Jay Briscoe, and I'm like, there's no way it's Briscoe. And sure enough, as soon as I clicked on it, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Double checked to make sure that it was the Tony Khan. Went to SRS, didn't see anything, but I'm like, man, I'm still going to share this to you guys because I knew both of you could be better at digging that up than me.
Yeah, it was one of those situations. I was hoping you were wrong, but
I was too.
You weren't. And it was stunning because, like we were talking about, he had just tweeted a photo of his new hat that said 13 time 2 hours before that.
Yeah.
It sounded like, I heard today, that it sounded like they were coming back from one of his daughter's cheerleading practices.
Mm-hmm.
Sounded like a lady swerved over into his lane and it was a head-on collision. Just awful all around. Just tragic. It just reminded me of when we lost Brody Lee in 2020. I know it was different circumstances. We hadn't seen Brody on TV for a couple months, but we didn't know he was sick, let alone on his deathbed. And whereas Jay, we just saw arguably the match of he and Mark's career just a month ago in the double dog collar match, which they won the ROH titles. He was advertised for the Super Card of Honor show coming up on March 31st. It's still just hard to even talk about. It was honestly hard to watch the show tonight and focus on the show tonight. Just knowing that the wrestling world lost a good one at a young age.
Yeah. But big shout out to everybody on the roster. Seemed like anybody who'd ever been in ROH or ever had a match with the Briscoes had a Jay armband on. It was really nice to see, whether it was Jay or whether it said Briscoe or the Young Bucks Jay with the heart on it.
Yeah, good job by AEW getting those made in a quick fashion.
Well, I thought maybe the opening tribute was a little short.
Yeah, a little bit.
And the first thing that came to mind was Warner Brothers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if that's the case, shame on them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
There was a couple wrestlers that came out and talked about, look, he made amends. We should not hold this over his head. We shouldn't label him this. This is not how we should remember him. And those were wrestlers from the LGBT community. If that's the case, shame on Warner Brothers. I know TK's feet are tied, or hands are tied. Sorry, feet to the fire, hands are tied, whatever you want to say. But I don't know. TK should have paid the fine. He should have done what he wanted. I thought maybe we'd get something a little bit there at the end, but
it does sound like they are doing something now. After it went off air, they're having a tribute show. I don't know if that's going to include matches or just highlights or what, but Tony Khan said it will be available for everybody for free on Code of Honor and or Honor Club, Honor Club, and on the YouTube, on the ROH YouTube. So I don't know if it's matches or just people talking about Jay. I'm not sure what it is, but it is going to be a Jay Briscoe tribute of some sort. So
yeah, and just like I said, keep his wife, his daughter, the son.
Yeah,
mark in your prayers.
Yeah, it sounds like his daughter's one. I don't think they're life threatening, injuries, but one might have trouble walking ever again, and the
Yeah,
other one's pretty
Yeah.
banged up too.
his wife tweeted out that she had some surgery today and hope it cures a lot.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's just awful situation. And then the lady that hit them also passed away in the accident. So yeah, just one of those moments where you just never know. You just never know. And the wrestling world's lost a lot of good ones over the last
That
couple
they have.
decades, and but it had been a while, which is a good thing. It had been a while, but yeah, Paul made us something to do real quick before we get into the recap of Dynamite. Since Dynamite really didn't do a 10-belt salute, we thought we would do it. So
Yeah. So join us as we take a moment of silence here with the 10 bell salute. Rest easy, Jay.
yes, well said.
Yeah.
It's just hard to talk about, and it's. I'm glad the Briscoes and FTR had the trilogy they did this past
Yes.
yeah.
year.
It sounds terrible, but I'm glad we got to see the end of that trilogy before this happened. We didn't have that. What could the conclusion be hanging over our heads forever?
I saw a good tweet today that said, Jay and Brody are tying it up in a dog collar match up in heaven, because both their last matches were on in the major promotions were dog collar matches. Yeah. I think I said that right. Yeah. So, kind of one of those eerie little facts. So,
And I'm sure for everybody who listens to FTR with Dax, I'm sure Dax is going to do something at least at some point in it.
He said they're keeping this week's schedule with FTR. Did I say that right? Whatever their team was, they're keeping that episode on schedule, but I'm sure I'll put something out soon.
Yeah, he said he was going to go ahead and post it, but he was in no mental state to talk.
No, there a lot of guys. It was amazing the lives he's touched across the different promotions. So
yeah, and watching, I think this will be our third episode of FTR with Dax, or fourth.
Yeah.
Dax, he gets to talking about some personal stuff. He can tear up.
Yes.
they can.
So I can imagine what'll happen when he talks. It brings back just thinking about him when Bobby Eaton passed and listening to Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
We all know Jim Cornette is this foul mouth, hard. I don't want to call him hard nose because he hit people with a tennis racket, but very, very hard headed.
Yes.
Guy opinion about wrestling.
Stubborn.
Yeah. And I remember opening that podcast up with him and Brian Last, and they didn't even have an opening. They always had their funny songs, making fun of AEW and making fun of independent wrestlers, basically. But they went right into Jim, and you could tell how that was a family member to Jim, and I think that'll be the same with Dax.
Yep. Yep, I think so too. So, yep. Thoughts and prayers definitely with the Pugh family. This is just not even easy for us, and we're just fans. It's not even easy for us to talk about. So, Dynamite tonight kicked off with the All Atlantic title, Orange Cassidy versus Jay Lethal. But if any of Lethal's guys interfered, Sanjay Dutt was going to be fired, which they had that little segment earlier today on the AEW Twitter. So it was just one-on-one, even though we got not interference, but Danhausen with his little tricks, and Satnam and Jarrett trying to get involved. And I did like the best friends coming into the crowd with huge beers. Goodness,
Yeah.
whatever that arena in Fresno, you're getting your money's worth there.
We need
Right.
to go to the Pepsi Arena in Indianapolis next year. Heads up.
Yeah, that was. I wonder what those cost, but whatever it was, they got enough liquid in there. But I didn't think this match was ever in doubt. It was a fine match for what it was. This is always an interesting one. Like I said, my fiance usually tunes in for a little bit, and it's interesting when Orange Cassidy's on the TV when she's trying to watch.
Because you've got to explain what he
And
is
she kind of
doing.
looks at me. She's like, "How can you watch this?" I'm like, "His gimmick's a little different from the rest. He's a little different." But and Danhausen too. I mean, there's
Those are two people. It's hard to
yeah,
explain wrestling and when those two are involved.
It was, but Cassidy got a big pop coming out tonight.
Yep.
It was a fine match. Cassidy ends up winning, hitting Lethal with the orange punch. Afterwards, Satnam got into the ring, grabbed both the best friends, but Sanjay Dutt begged him away because his job was on the line. Dutt then did the same to Jarrett, but then he eats these slow kicks from Orange, who had to be held back himself. So looks like this feud's going to continue. I don't know. It's a comedic feud, whatever.
You know what? I've been pretty outspoken on Orange Cassidy, but like you said, he got one of the biggest pops of the night.
Sure did.
And I don't know. The best friends make me laugh. It made me laugh that Danhausen had the security shirt on, came down, checked the tickets, and then he waved them in. And of course, they come across the front row, which probably is just kind of like gets the people involved. They're eating popcorn, drinking beer. I mean.
It is fun, and that's what wrestling's supposed to be, fun. I mean, it's not the serious storyline going on. And I even laughed Friday night when Satnam put his back up against Danhausen. Danhausen was trying to get around him, and that cracked me up. But
Danhausen with the guitar was hilarious.
I still never thought though when Jarrett signed with AEW that we'd seen Jarrett on TV every week, but here we are.
Well, we didn't think the same thing with Sting when he started, and look how long we got him every single week.
But I will say, I actually think Jeff Jarrett's done a pretty good job.
Yeah. Since
he signed. I know a lot of people don't like Jeff, but you're not supposed to. He's supposed to be a good heel. So,
and he is.
I think he's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, he has. And for his age, he looks good. He can still perform.
Yep.
I know he had a hard time about 5-6 years ago. With some substance abuse problems, he made an ass out of himself down at AAA in Mexico.
Yeah, I did.
Coming out to one of their Triple Manias, and actually, it's kind of funny story. It's been about 5-6 years ago. It was not funny, but when he came out going down the ramp throwing taco shells at the fans, it made headlines. And I was watching it on one of the websites, and then all of a sudden, guess what? I paid the probably $5 back then, and I watched Triple Mania in Spanish. I don't know any Spanish. And then I started watching Triple Mania on their YouTube channel in Spanish, but I enjoyed the wrestling. It was, back then the Bucks were there. Kenny Omega was there.
Lucha Bros.
Yeah, Lucha Bros were there. A lot of Brian Cage was down there for crying out loud. But yeah, just really enjoyed the product, and it was something different. And at the time, we didn't have AEW, and I was sick of watching Stanford, Connecticut. So, so thank you, Jeff Jarrett. That's how I started watching the play with you being an ass.
Yep. So good opener tonight. It was fine. And then the second match, I was surprised this is where this match was on the card, but.
Yeah, because they even kept saying tonight, and then all of a sudden it was up.
But this was the one I was really looking forward to, the Young Bucks versus Top Flight. This is kind of how Top Flight got noticed in AEW, was against the Young Bucks 2 years ago or so in Daly's place, I think it was. Maybe a little before that, I don't know. AEW's been around now for 4 years, so I'm forgetting. But this is my kind of match. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's not Braun Strowman's cup of tea. He doesn't like the flippity flop, but I do. I like the athletic moves. I was wondering what state of mind the Young Bucks were going to be in tonight, because of course the Briscoes are some of their not only really good friends, but also rivals throughout their career.
Oh yeah.
You could tell they're pretty shaken up coming out on stage, but they got through it by doing what they love, and good match by all. The Martin boys are always good. I especially thought Darius was really strong tonight. In the end, we got an upset. Top Flight. Darius ducked the BTE trigger. The Bucks hit knees together, and he rolls up Matt Jackson for the clean pin and taking the Bucks by surprise. So I know there's a lot of haters out there against the Young Bucks. You know, they always position themselves for title runs, but they put over Private Party in 2019. They're putting over Top Flight here. They're not afraid to put over younger talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I give them. I was sitting there thinking exactly that when Top Flight got the victory. I was like sitting there going, "Oh, but I thought the Bucks always booked themselves to win and line themselves up for championships."
I kind of thought this coming into the match, especially seeing them when they were on the ramp, just the look on their face, and getting to listen to Dax talk about the chemistry of tag team wrestling and the drama behind it, and talking how they worked with the Briscoes and how FTR has put over so many talents clean.
Yeah.
I almost felt like going into tonight, you were going to see this for a rub towards the Briscoes because that's something they would have done. They, the Briscoes play a damn good heel. And I think that's why, I don't know, and maybe it's just because this is all fresh in our mind, and that's what we're thinking about every time we see any type of professional wrestling on television as of late or as of today, obviously. But I don't know. I kind of saw that one coming, and maybe I'm just looking way too much into it. Got my head in the clouds, but yeah, I kind of see them going, "Hey, we're not young. We're not young anymore. No pun intended, Bucks.
Yeah, we're not the Young Bucks. We're just
these guys are. So let's start building the future." So
I did like the Young Buck spot when they did the Doomsday Device.
they did,
and I thought it was over then. It got me when he kicked out. I thought it was over. I thought, okay, it's fitting. They're going to end it with the Briscoes move, and then Top Flight kicked out. But credit to the Bucks for fighting through this match, though. And we know they're not 100% after that ladder match last week. I mean, Matt Jackson has like a bullet hole in his shin if you watch BTE. My God.
Yeah.
And Nick Jackson's busted up too last week. I still don't know how he got up last week after that spot with his hamstrings hitting the ladder.
Barely.
But yeah, Top Flight's been getting a push, and now you can tell Tony's all in on these guys, and we could be looking at your future tag team champs, or at least maybe some point in 2023.
If not 23, then definitely in 24.
You can't have them take the belts off the Acclaimed.
No.
So if you give them a run here for the next 6 months, see where it turns out. But
make sure they can stay healthy.
There's a reason I picked Darius Martin to be TNT Championship at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Not rooting against anybody getting hurt, but
or Dante. You picked Dante.
All right, I said Darius, didn't I?
Yeah.
Dante.
Yeah, you picked the one who can't stay healthy.
Well, and that's why I was so happy for him to have a strong performance tonight, because I'm
absolutely.
always worried one of them's going to get hurt.
No,
I am. It's just like, but
just think, you put Top Flight, Phoenix, and Darby all in one match together. Somebody's going out on a stretcher, because they're all going to compete to see who can throw themselves further into the audience.
No, you're right. I'll get some thoughts on Darby later. Oh man, he's had a heck of a week too. Darby doing some stuff with Tony Hawk too. Even when making Tony Hawk go, God, and then you're doing some crazy stuff. We then saw a really good backstage segment with Renee Paquette and Adam Hangman Page. Adam Page coming off a huge victory over Renee's husband, John Moxley. Page says he's physically feels fine, and with the win over Moxley, he has his word back. Paquette says that Moxley claimed that Page pushes him to be the best, and he despises him and cherishes him. That sounds like something Mox really would say.
Yeah.
Page says he understands the nature of wrestling, but then he made a joke about it and said he would knock him out to win, and that's what he did, and he'd do it again. He wants to focus on having some tough conversations that he needs to have moving forward. When the interview ended, Page asked how Mox is doing. He pointed out that Renee's pointed out that he's been hurt one way or the other for a while. Hangman then teased something he'd like her to say to him, but then he changed his mind. So who do you guys think he was talking about? Mending some fences?
Well, that's the obvious one, is obviously what fences he burned or whatever with the Elite. I think I don't see him going back and working anything with the Dark Order.
I hope not. Sorry.
Hey, they're trying to get Colt back.
Yeah.
Colt Cabana's back on BT.
And I don't think he was talking about CM Punk. I'm throwing it up. I did see some of Twitter thought that was the case.
That was not one I thought of.
I like how they do the little vignette, and she closes it, and then they think they're
off camera. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And then he starts talking personally, and Renee was like, "Hey, look, he's always hurt. Yada yada yada."
Yeah.
So that was a nice little touch. Obviously, shows the softer cowboy side of Hangman, which we've seen in the past.
Yep.
Especially when he's drinking.
Yeah.
So, we've seen
we saw it last week after he won the match, his facial expressions of concern for Moxley when he was down. So Hangman's been one of the more fascinating stories for his character since AEW started.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So many layers.
Well, they call him the Millennial Cowboy. Okay. Yeah. And we know you guys are millennials. I'm 1 year too old, but we know the millennials take a really, really bad rap. So I kind of like him playing. He kind of plays it. So if he's going to play, he's going to play to his advantage. So I like it.
In Ship, we kind of talked, Paul and I kind of talked about this last week, where the crowd was more in favor of Hangman than Mox. Do you think he's the most over guy in the company as far as a singles act?
Oh, boy, he's right up there. Yeah,
he's up there.
He's up there, and I know it's town to town. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did the pop Orange Cassidy he got tonight was not the pop he got when you saw him in Indianapolis.
No.
True.
Okay,
right.
So you're 2,000 miles away in California.
Yep.
So again, I think Orange probably cut his teeth on the Indies out west. I don't know. I think he did.
I think you're right.
I think so. Yeah.
It depends where you're at.
You're right.
I think you're going to see a bigger pop for Hangman when you come back to the Midwest because he cut his teeth in ROH, which didn't get very far west.
No. More East Coast, Midwest.
And that's where the people saw him and learned to like him. So.
Yep. That's a good point. We then saw a team that's really over. The Acclaimed came out.
Mm-hmm.
They got to come out there advertised, but the Guns came out first. And they're pointing out that the Acclaim embarrassed them, and they remind people that they made the Acclaim popular. They made them champions, even gave them their dad. However, he claims it'll be the last time Austin Gunn says it's the last time they're going to get embarrassed. The Acclaim come down, but the Guns stop Max from doing his rap. But then Max gets Austin's mic muted and then continues with his rap, even though he gets muted by TBS.
Censors.
That's interesting.
Which they didn't censor MJF later on the night.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. I'd be interested to see why they decide to censor some things over others, or and then they get into the ring, they start fighting. Then Billy Gunn throws Caster off, throws Austin off, says he's had enough. Next week they're gonna have a family intervention. 2 words for you: family therapy. He said. So I don't know.
he made fun of his own kids, but then the big thing that he looked at those two guys and said, start acting like tag champions.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, he's basically saying, look, this is serious stuff. Start acting like it,
Yeah.
I know you're young, but start acting like it. So I kind of like the spot. I don't see Billy turning on them anytime soon.
Right.
No.
I don't see Billy taking any of the goofiness out of him yet, but I could see that down the road saying, hey, look, this was fun. Scissor this, scissor that. You can still have your raps, but hey, let's start acting like world tag team champions, So I kind of liked a little bit by Billy tonight.
Am I the only one starting to think that the Acclaim might put the Guns over and the Guns are going to take the titles off of them?
I've been thinking that since Friday.
No.
I'm a little nervous about that.
No.
But what cracks me up is Billy saying that to the Acclaim tonight, because let's think about it. The Ass Man, he was a comedy champion every time he held gold. And the Acclaimed are doing similar things to what the New Age Outlaws did, but in the PC era. And it just, to me, it's like, all right, hypocrite. Come on, Gramps.
Yeah, I think the Gun Club I think they have a tremendous future. They both have great looks. They both can perform. Right now, they can be little shithead heels. But they got a long, long way to go before you put any type of gold on them.
What if I tell you this, though, Shep? What if you put gold on them? FTR gets rested up, signs a new contract. Last time we even heard FTR spoken on AEW television, the Gun Club was doing their funeral. FTR could get the titles back that way.
They could. I know as of right now, FTR is off television until
the end of their contracts.
They asked for that time. This was before the tragedy happened yesterday. So they have time to rest up. Now it's professional wrestling. TK can make a phone call next week.
Oh yeah,
and both of them guys would be on a plane to wherever the heck Dynamite's at or Rampage is at because TK called them. That's just the way they're. That's the way they are. That's the way they show love for the business. So again, it's professional wrestling. It can change day to day, but as of right now, we don't plan on seeing them until 1st April.
Right.
Card subject to change.
Again, okay. So let's say you have them do that.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying the first title defense against FTR, they're going to take the belts off the Guns. Then you just bury the Guns all of a sudden.
That's true. That's true.
Then in turn you bury Acclaim because they lost to the Guns, and then they turn around and couldn't beat FTR. So
that's true. That's true.
Again, those guys have tremendous amount of talent and tremendous upside as long as it's done right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it is interesting just thinking the Guns, they're right. They did make the Acclaimed because the whole thing started with the Ass Boys and turned into what it is now.
Yeah.
So.
And it's hard. And like I said, I like the spot by Billy tonight, but it's really hard to take him serious where he's wearing black pants with a bunch of pink scissors on it.
Yeah, it is.
And a
backwards hat.
And his shirt's belly button tied with the knot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like a 16-year-old girl.
Yep.
It's hard to take that serious, but
it is.
Just like the New Age Outlaws.
Billy and Chuck.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
Well, they're a comedy act.
Oh, they were something, all right.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that on this podcast tonight, though.
We then got Shep's favorite segment of the night, Hager in his hat against Ricky Starks, and his hat made the lower third.
Yeah, I was going to say, anybody catch that?
Yeah. And did you see the new hat is embroidered? It says, I like this hat.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Got a pre-order just for you, Shep, so it should be showing up on your doorstep any day now.
Yeah, the only thing worse is Big Bill.
We missed you last week when we were talking about Big Bill.
God.
Big Bill.
Oh man. I was again. I don't know why you always keep. I know he's my favorite, but I was listening to the finishing up on Dax's podcast, and he talked about a bunch of matches him, Enzo, and Cass had in NXT, and how much he respected those guys, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But every time he talked about Cass, all I could think was Paul saying "Big Bill, Big Bill." That's all I could think about every time he said it. I'm like, God.
I was listening to another podcast, and they didn't do it Paul-like, but they did put some emphasis on the name as well. So I'm like, I don't think anybody can say it like just normal.
You can't say Cass anymore.
No, but we'll get to a segment where Bill's mentioned later tonight, and if you go back and rewatch it, even it's said then a little funny.
Yeah. Well, Starks gets the win. No surprise there over Hager. Because Hager accidentally knocked out Cool Hand Ange on the apron, turned around right into a Starks spear. After the match, to the rest of the JAS hit the ring, jumped Starks, but he's too quick and he ran through it. Then Jericho was showing with Shivani backstage, says next week all this ends as he requested a tag match as he and Sammy would face Starks in action in Andretti. But Daniel Garcia wants to be his partner, and Guevara says if he can be Andretti on Rampage, then he can have a spot. Guevara claims that this is what he's been training him for, and he even bought him some leather pants to wish him luck. Garcia looked thrilled.
Yeah, so whether it's Les Sex Gods or Garcia Co.
I like Garcia Co. actually.
Yeah, I do too. That's the sad part.
I obviously we're building up to a Sammy Garcia feud. I'm so sick of Sammy. And that's his role is to make somebody just dislike him as much as I do. And the more and more I like Garcia.
Yep.
So, yeah, obviously we're working up to that feud. So
I will give Sammy's wife's props. That street fight was awesome Friday night on Rampage. The women can bring in street fight. So
yes, they can.
Willow missed the table.
She did that was scary.
Well, let me rephrase this. Willow hit the table.
Yeah, Willow hit the table.
For
shot Anna Jay, which my gosh.
Anna Jay flapjack on
concrete.
And you can tell she felt that too.
Well,
I mean, she was not work selling that.
And Ruby, next time she gets color, maybe she needs to be a little easy on the pressure.
Caught a gusher. Anytime I see that much blood, it just reminds me of two JBL matches with Eddie Guerrero and John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
Two bloodiest matches I've seen.
She definitely hit the wrong spot.
Yeah, but
I've seen that happen though. You can think you're in the right spot, and then as soon as you're done, you go, whoops.
Sure.
But Willow and Anna had a couple of bad segments in that match, but otherwise it was a fantastic street fight.
Yeah. Next up, we got a really good professional wrestling match. Words are hard tonight. Bryan Danielson and Bandito. This was advertised since last week. Bandito's awesome. That guy, they need to get him on TV more. This is only his second match. I know it's only 3 weeks into 2023, but we need to get him on TV more because this was back and forth. The crowd was actually more from Bandito, it sounded like, being out there on the West Coast, and Danielson was eating it up. He was loving it. A lot of good submission spots in this match. In the end, Danielson hits I don't even know what they call his knee anymore. Charging knee, I'm going to call it. I don't know what they call it.
Running knee.
I
don't know.
I think he calls it the psycho knee, doesn't he?
Psycho knee. The notes I'm reading here on Wrestling Inc. say I don't know. It's like a Japanese word, knee. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. But Danielson got the win. Let's be honest. Right now, his opponents in these matches, he's running his own like G1 version in America. That's what I feel like he's doing right now, which is great. It's going to be fun to watch. He gets the win. The MJF showing. Said he's starting to feel unappreciated. Says people are claiming he's not worthy. People think he's forgotten who he is. Previously, Danielson has dealt with Masked Max, But the closer Danielson will go on this journey, the more he will slip off. And he says Brian doesn't want that because not even a dragon is enough for the monster behind the mask. Yeah, I thought, MJF's been getting kind of crapped on Twitter for cheap heat and this and that. I thought he was a little bit back to his roots tonight.
Oh yeah, it was nice to see that that more aggressive MJF.
Yep.
We always love a little bit more anger out of him.
Yep.
The last couple of feuds, he gets personal, and he almost gives the non-heelish vibe. But here he plays the heel well. Now, I thought in the middle of this match, all of a sudden, especially with some stiff yes kicks, all of a sudden I thought Danielson was the heel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Especially with the crowd reaction. I really, really did not see Bandito wrestling a technical match. I don't know if I've ever seen Bandito wrestle a technical match. It was completely shocking, completely entertaining, and I think those two guys stole the show tonight.
Yeah, It was fun. It was, I thought it was the best match of the night. And I meant to bring up during the Bucks top flight match. I thought the Bucks were working heelish tonight a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
A few spots here and there.
Yeah.
Not huge, but
enough.
Yeah. But then we also see that Brian Cage is going to be the next challenger against Danielson next week, and MJF comes up to him, and I always forget his manager's name of the embassy.
Prince Nana.
Yeah, Prince Nana gives him a lot of cash. Says this is more cash than either of you've ever seen in your life. Says, I don't care if you win or lose, break his arm. Cage said he can make that happen. Then he smacks Brian Cage, and Cage is about to strangle him. He says, use that hate, use that feeling next week. So.
I like the segment, but so we had Takeshi the first week, Bandito now, and no offense to Brian Cage. Now we have Brian Cage.
Yeah.
There's so many other guys they could go out and maybe Cage can put on a match with Danielson because Danielson's that good. But it just doesn't fit. I don't know. There's so many more options out there. TK has an unlimited Rolodex of guys to bring in to put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
He brought on Kushida tonight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He could come up with somebody better than Brian Cage. Yes, he picked up Brian Cage's option. He's on the payroll.
He's starting to really push him. I mean, heck, he's on Rampage this Friday night against Willie Mack because their dark match was so good. They're running it back.
Yeah. And he's part of the 6-man tag and ROH,
right?
Which is fine. Good for him. But this is just not a spot. This is not a spot for Cage.
Right.
Now, speaking of Friday, Willie Mack, making a second appearance for AEW. Willie Mack can work.
Yes, it can.
So that's more of a matchup for Brian Cage. I mean, technically, in the first 5 minutes, Danielson should wrap him in a pretzel and it'd be over.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But
and I'm getting more at ease now. It's taken me 2 years to get more at ease watching a Bryan Danielson match where he's not going to get a concussion. But when I see him facing a bigger guy like this, a powerful guy that could just throw him around a little bit, might make me a little worried and uncomfortable watching it next week. But
yeah,
we'll see.
And who's the finale going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, we got what 3 after next week? We got 2 or 3 more weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's going to be Archer?
I don't know. I mean, if we're going to do Cage, you've got to do Archer because every time anybody seems to come up against Cage, they end up facing Archer shortly after.
I know it's not going to happen, but I'd love it to be Miro.
That'd be great too.
I know he won't do it, but man, I know they've done it at Full Gear last year, but we haven't seen him on TV. Miro can be a killer. That'd be fun.
Maybe that's where they bring him back.
What about
MJF's new enforcer?
And again, so we don't build any storylines. This is the first time we build a storyline for Danielson's next match, okay? Which was a little 30-second vignette. So let's throw the storylines out. Could you imagine like him and Ray Phoenix?
Oh.
Like,
yeah.
I think Ray Phoenix could wrestle technical. but have some high spots. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Pac.
Yeah, even
Another one.
he and Penta.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's so many guys on this roster. And again, no offense to Cage and his mohawk.
Swivel Ring, the Machine. He's got like a million nicknames. Yeah.
Christian's uncle. Oh wait, or nephew. That's the other company that would have done that. Sorry, my bad.
Page, Cage. There's a lot of ages in this company. Speaking of Page, we saw Ethan Page is going to take on Jack Perry Friday night on Rampage, and Stokely Hathaway was not too pleased with Big Bill last week.
See, if you watch, go back, and even if you find it on Twitter, watch it. Stokely gets a twang in his voice when he says it. It's not Big Bill. It's Big Bill.
Stokely's starting to grow on ship. I can feel it.
It all goes back to that raggedy bitch comment.
The one off the wall comment that he will forever be known for.
The only time Stokely made me laugh. In fact, I rewound the live TV and watched it again.
That was good.
And I'm just like, all right, you're not as bad as I portray you to be. You're bad, but not as bad.
Yep.
So,
yep.
he's growing a little bit. He's still a short son of a buck. He's got a long way to grow.
Yes,
He's got a long way to grow on shit.
We then backstage for the lone women's match tonight. We saw Toni Storm. We saw highlights of her. She did. We didn't see highlights. Excuse me, I'm reading this wrong. Backstage, Toni Storm's defending Hikaru Shida for last week, saying she didn't mean to do that. Storm takes a shot at the AEW Originals, which angers Shida, and Saraya tells her to stay in the back tonight to Shida, which, of course, she's gonna listen. Air quotes. We then got the match of Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale. Saraya is down and re-signed with Toni Storm. We see Shida come out during the match. She didn't get involved, though. We see Toni Storm end up getting the win with a roll-up with pulling the tights thanks to a Saraya distraction. After the match, we see a heel turn, full-fledged heel turn. Saraya beating up Willow Nightingale. Toni Storm joins. Then we see Ruby Soho come down. They get out of the ring. Ruby's saying, what the heck? I got to think Ruby's going to be turning here in the next few weeks, too. So I think the storyline we're getting is the ex-WWE females versus the AEW females. I think that's the storyline. I think we're getting ex-WWE versus originals. And I think Shida sides with Nightingale, Baker, and Hayter. So
would that make Baker and company the faces?
Could.
Which Baker can play a face.
And then Hayter, the crowd, that's the number 4 selling t-shirt on Shop AEW is the Killer and the Pillar t-shirt.
Yeah.
The crowd loves them some Jamie Hayter.
Danhausen's still number 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy, he doesn't wrestle much.
I'm just throwing that out there because he knows what he's doing.
He knows how to get himself over, but
he knows how to get the monies.
He loves the monies.
So I'm fascinated by this because you could even add more women to this. I mean, you
could.
I don't know if Mercedes Monet, as she wants to pronounce, is going to ever come or not. She did make a statement today. She plans on winning the New Japan Women's title and taking it anywhere she wants.
I don't think you see her. If you do see her on AEW, you don't see her before. Was it Battle in the Bay? Right, or Battle in the Bay.
Yeah, on the 18th February.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the New Japan show.
I'm still mad she didn't show up. I'm still ticked about that last week.
Okay, and you guys are gonna. Paul especially is gonna laugh at me on this one.
Oh, great!
When a talent leaves Stamford, Connecticut,
yeah,
they tell you to go do something.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it, they welcome you back with open arms.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
AKA Cody.
Yeah.
What do they tell you? Go get over somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mercedes did not get over her one little appearance / botch on Wrestle Kingdom. Now,
Right.
I watched it live. I'm the degenerate that got up at 4 a.m. and watched it. My wife looked at me like I was an idiot, which whatever. I couldn't argue that. But I popped because I've seen Mercedes, aka Sasha Banks, for the last couple of years. But that crowd was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It was silent.
And they were allowed to cheer.
Yeah.
We got to throw that out there. They're allowed to cheer now. So I get what she's trying to do, but I don't think Tony brings her in until she makes a little bit of ripples in the water. Now, if New Japan plans to put her over in California here in February, you're going to have an American crowd at that event.
Mm-hmm.
See how they react. But she's got a lot of proving to do outside of the WWE before anything. And I think you got to do that before Tony puts her over. Now, if you have like Tanner says, a outsider stable versus an original stable, and let's say you have 5 originals and 4 outsiders, yeah, she's going to be your surprise opponent at the next pay-per-view. And hopefully she walks down, with some New Japan gold. But yeah, there's some potential there, but she's got to go prove herself first.
I'd like to see. I don't know if they can play it out this long unless they move the event up. I don't even know if they do this. But I like an outsiders versus the originals, 5-on-5, blood and guts. Women's blood and guts match. Be different. Never been done.
It would.
Because besides that, I'm just trying to figure blood and guts already out in my mind, like who's going to be the teams. I don't think you have JS in again. Jericho's already been in 2 of them.
No, he did both Stadium Stampedes. He's done 2 Blood and Guts. I mean,
I guess you could throw the BCC in it again.
Maybe. But, I don't know if Hangman makes friends again.
The Elite. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
Adam Cole's back too.
Yeah, man, I thought we'd see a little bit from him tonight.
Man, that was a pop last week. You didn't get to talk about that.
I didn't get to talk about that, but let's rewind because I like to go down rabbit holes. Tony Schiavone said, "I'm making no apologies to my next guest," which we all thought was MJF.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I don't know why Tony did that, and then he ran out of the ring and never saw him again.
Because there's still that heat between the two over Britt, and that's going to be a storyline that's going to be the longest running storyline in AEW history.
Well, that Tony Schiavone's going to try to steal Britt from Adam Cole.
Yeah, or Adam Cole thinks that way at least.
Well, maybe Britt's in the mullet. Well, no, he cut the mullet. Damn it.
Yeah. He doesn't even look right now.
No, he is the worst dressed 59-year-old dude. He's got earrings. He wears a suit that's too big. Don't get me wrong. I like Tony Schiavone. I think he's hilarious.
Can't believe Lois lets him leave the house like that.
Hey, there's one person who's worse.
Rick Knox.
There we go.
Get that dude some pants.
He looked like he was holding them up tonight, running around the ring.
I thought the same thing. I'm thinking, man, I made a comment because we saw him in person in Indy, yada, yada, yada. I had a couple cocktails, whatever. But then I'm sitting here stone sober tonight watching on live television going, either he's losing weight or his belt sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it looked like they were high waters to begin with. And then on top of it, it looks like he was holding the top of them up as he was trying to scoot around the ring.
Okay, look, I mean, we need to get him a sponsor like an Adidas Golf and get him some black pants that fit properly. They are stretchy, athletic enough so he can do what he does, because I'm afraid he's going to have a blowout. I mean, those things might disintegrate. They just might turn into dust.
Tanner, you got any extra pair you can spare for him?
Yeah, I got plenty. I'll ship him. I'll find his
Yeah.
address. I'll ship it to him.
I mean,
Send it
they
to
might
Tony
be
Khan and address it to.
You might have the same waist as Tanner. They might not have the same NC.
That's true. That's true. Man.
I mean, he might as well wear a pair of pants that fit me. For crying out loud.
Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah,
What are you talking about?
we were talking about Adam Cole, and then somehow
Boom.
Shivani and
got
his
on to
dressing, and
Shivani's
then it went down
poorly
to
dressed.
Rick Knox, and we definitely went down a rabbit hole. It wasn't a rabbit hole I was seeing us go down, but we went down. Before we get into the main event, who do you guys think Adam Cole feuds with now that he's back?
Well, you know, he made a comment that he was coming for, the way I took it, he was coming for championship.
Sure.
Yep.
Man, I don't know. I think the TNT title's a little beneath him.
But that'd be him and Darby would be fun though. But yeah, I'm right there with you too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you a guy that I think I would love to see him wrestle. There's two guys. One's a face right now, so it's not going to work. But there's two guys I think that he could make buku bucks with. One of them, which again, another face, is Ricky Starks. I think those two could put on a hell of a match. The other one, maybe out of left field, is Ethan Page.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I think those two guys could really, and I would have to go back. Did those guys ever work together and Evolve?
I don't know off the top of my head. That's throwing it back a ways.
I mean, that might have been back into the Evolve Gabe Spiskolfi gym days, like when Chris Hero was around. I know Adam Cole, when he was in NXT, went down and did some work with Evolve, but I'm pretty sure Ethan might have been already gone by then.
Or how about
I think so.
Cole against Pac?
Mm.
I'm trying to think of a heel we can mix in there. I don't.
Pac can't. You know what though? Pac can't. I shouldn't say can't. I don't care for Pac on the mic like I do the other.
You're right.
Guys.
You're right.
Adam Cole's really good on the mic.
He is.
Yes.
He's a really good talker.
He is.
Ethan's a good talker.
Yeah.
He's a really good talker.
Sure.
And both those guys can go.
Yeah.
So.
All right, but we don't have a definite answer as to whether Cole's face or heel. He came out of the heel side.
But with that pop, I think they need to give him a face run. I mean,
He had that pop when he was a heel.
I know. Fans want to cheer for him. Now's a good time. KOR's not returning anytime soon.
No.
Which
So-
I'm still so mad we didn't get the Elite versus the Undisputed Era.
Well, and Bobby Fish working for New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
He worked New Japan strong last week.
Where are the lies?
So he's either celebrity boxing or working for New Japan.
Yeah.
Which Bobby Fish.
I don't care
Yeah.
for him. Yeah. Where are the lies, people?
Yeah.
All right. The main event tonight was Darby Allin versus Kushida, which this was announced last week for the TNT title. This had some fun spots in it. Derby matches always have some fun spots in it.
Yeah.
They're fun for us. I don't think they're fun for Darby.
Oh my! Like I said, the dude was hanging out with Tony Hawk earlier this week and kept beefing this tricky. I don't know if you saw it, Shep. He was on a ladder and trying to go straight down from the ladder onto the ramp with his skateboard.
Yeah, I don't.
He beefed you like 5 times, and they're even looking at Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's like shaking his head, like, I can't believe this guy's even trying this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked. I mean, the closest thing my body's getting on a skateboard is playing Tony Hawk on PS2.
Yep.
So,
Pro skater, baby.
Kicking it old school.
Yeah, I mean, if a skateboard came rolling through my house right now, I think I'd run the other way.
But so Darby, this guy, his bumps are incredible. Nobody takes bumps like Darby Allin. The camera shot was really cool tonight, I thought, when he was jumping outside the ring off the turnbuckle, and Kushida caught him in a submission hold. But the camera angle made it look pretty nasty the way Darby fell.
Well, basically, he had Kushida on that chair,
Mm-hmm.
and he went kind of a front flip. Kushida moved the chair out. Darby just flat bumped on the mats, which I'm sure are very, very comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Right into like an armbar, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so no, that didn't look good at all. I mean, what are those mats? Half-inch thick?
Yeah, half-inch to an inch max.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
He's nuts.
And it's concrete underneath that. It's not like, it's wood that might have a little bit of give.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point, the LA Dojo guys were offering the towel to Sting to throw in for Darby. I thought that was pretty good.
I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Having the young lions come down because when you watch when I watched Wrestle Kingdom, they had young lions around the ring and would tend to the talent afterwards with the ice bags and stuff like that. So obviously that's a New Japan tradition. Basically, bringing those guys from the bottom to the top. So I kind of liked it and kind of have them getting involved. They had their names on the back of the jacket, stuff like that. So,
and I'm not too familiar with Kushida as I'm not as familiar with New Japan as you are, Shep, even though I smoked both of you in the Wrestle Kingdom predictions.
I only got 2 matches wrong, Tanner, just because the confidence points. If we went off matches here, I'd be champion.
If some butts were candy nuts, it'd be Christmas all the time, Paul.
Right,
but so Kushida's is his like attire supposed to be Marty McFly?
Well,
those are the vibes I was getting tonight.
Yeah, when Kushida went to NXT, he started wearing the vest, and I didn't get it. And then when he left, I'm thinking he would, I don't know, kind of go back. But when
he's got that, he's got the glasses. He was like pointing to the watch that was thrown. I don't know.
I don't know, and maybe it's been so long since we've seen him do a lot of work.
I kept hearing in my head Biff yelling McFly.
Yeah,
and there was reference to, I think it was a hoverboard submission or something, or rather, he did something and they called it something hoverboard. I think that's the way that's going.
Fun hoverboard lock was it?
There we go.
But fun match. Darby hit the last supper, got a reversal into the last supper to retain, and was selling his shoulder injury after the match because Kushida wants to put up his injured arm, and he's like,
"Yeah." I thought it was a good exchange there towards the end.
Yep.
I don't know. I love the relationship between AEW and New Japan. Yep. So hopefully it's not the last that we see of Kushida because. No. I think he could have some really good matches could you imagine him and Ray Phoenix, him and any of the top flight guys, Darby's a high flyer, but
Darby's just a nut.
Darby's a suicide bomber compared to a stealth fighter jet.
Yes.
They list him at 175. There's no way.
Darby?
Yeah, they list him at 175 tonight. There's no way.
Well, if Darby's 175, then my right leg is 185.
I honestly think at Darby, I'm like maybe 155.
Yeah, I'm thinking 150, 155.
Yeah,
he's soaking wet with his boots on.
Yeah.
But I have respect for the dude though. He puts his body on line. He's over with the crowd. He's now 2-time TNT champ. I'm still wondering when Wardlow's going to come back.
Yeah. Look, I was huge on old Wardlow,
but they kind of blew it last year.
They kind of buried his ass.
Yeah, they did.
And see, here's the problem. Joe went on record after he beat Wardlow, and he said, "I said I'm coming for all the belts, and that meant yours." And since losing to Darby, Joe's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Joe still has the ROH television belt, but
yeah.
I mean,
well, ROH is supposed to start filming soon, so
yeah. So I don't know if you
that's why
you separate Joe from AEW for a while.
I think so. If you're going to build that brand,
which is fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. There's plenty of talent in ROH that could have some really good matches with Joe. Josh Woods comes to mind. I would like to see Josh Woods and Joe have a match. I think that both would probably beat the tar out of each other, actually.
Yeah.
It's just Josh Woods doesn't have the charisma, the talking ability, but he's got the in-ring ability. So maybe they work on that,
I'm kind of going right down a rabbit hole here.
Yes.
Adam Cole related again. I just don't want them to put Adam Cole with the Kingdom.
Oh God.
No.
He's way too above that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know. I'm thinking of all the bad things right now that they could do with people.
Of course you are.
I don't think
Negative
everybody
Nancy
needs to be in a faction.
Yeah.
There's some guys that can stand on their own.
Oh, he can definitely stand his own.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't think Moxley and Danielson need to be in a faction, but
yeah,
I really don't think they are. I think they just have the name with them. They're like in the band, but not in the band. They help form the band, but now they're kind of doing their own thing, and they just get kind of credit for being in the band.
they can always come back like Tom DeLonge.
Yeah.
So if Blink-182 leaves, does his own thing, comes back, leaves, comes back, leaves, comes back.
and again, this is the
182 references on KOP.
I know we're all AEW fans here, but if we want to give some constructive criticism,
yeah,
this is, and I think I've gone back to this every podcast we've ever talked about this. That's what lacks in AEW is storytelling.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. We put somebody with somebody, but we don't tell why we did it. We just do it. So the factions struggle sometimes because we don't tell you why. We just do it. So
yeah.
But Jungle Hook.
Jungle Hook. But
Warlow.
Yeah.
Warlow and Warjoe, which should have been Samoa Low. It should have been Samoa Low. That sounds a lot better than Warjoe, but
and when I think about this, I know there's producers backstage, and I know there's some hellacious minds that are producers backstage.
Right.
But I feel that TK has a little bit of Vince in him, where it's all him.
Yeah. He has. I think he has a tough time giving.
Yeah.
Some power and control up.
Yes, and speaking of TK compared to Vince, this has nothing to do with professional wrestling. I seriously have turned into a Jaguars fan because if for some reason that ragdoll team could win the Super Bowl, could you imagine Triple H sending them a belt?
I've been thinking about that since they made it into the first round of the playoffs. I'm like, just imagine this.
Has it been the last 5 years that the Super Bowl, and it doesn't matter if it's Super Bowl, if it's the NBA.
They sell them too. They sell them on shop WWEshop.com. I was on there looking at some the other day, and I saw they had St. Louis Cardinals side plates.
Yeah. Which
the Cardinals haven't won anything in a while, but
I mean, can you imagine TK holding that?
Oh, it'd be hilarious.
No, that would just that would be the icing on the cake.
Hey. Be a fly on the wall.
You know Triple H watches the football on the weekend going, son of a
he's gonna be a big Mahomes fan this weekend.
Yeah.
If they make it to the Super Bowl, I just want to be a fly on the wall when H walks in and goes, so are we sending the Jags a belt if they win?
Or we just going to go radio silence?
And Vince right now in his mind, he's probably hoping the Jaguars win. He wants to inject it with some poison.
Yeah. So, okay, let's go the other way. Say WWE goes complete silence. Does TK step up and do what they've done and give the Jags a belt?
Well, it's his team.
I know.
He'll definitely fire some tweets off too.
Oh, yes, he will.
Hey, since we didn't get another belt, I made my own belt type deal. Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and it probably beat out to everybody in the NFL.
And you half-ass redesign your belt to look like the belt. Yep. It doesn't look just like it, but just enough where jackalopes like us go, oh, that's the WWE belt.
Shot fired.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. And then if you're TK, you do the smart thing and take to Twitter and say, hey, look, you have another option. If you don't want their belt, you can come get ours.
Yeah.
Yep. So, nope. I've said that since the playoffs started too, and since my Broncos are too bad to make the playoffs, I'm rooting for the Jags just so the belt presentation happens.
Oh yeah.
Well, my Colts suck, but we didn't go pay Godzilla money for a quarterback. So
yeah, you got a chance to get a quarterback with your top 5 picks. So
yeah, we'll probably end up with Tom Brady.
We'll both probably whiff on head coaches, so it's gonna be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be fun.
Welcome to Cleveland.
That's true. We could be Browns fans. Rating for tonight's show.
Shep, you go ahead because I'm struggling to come up with a good one.
All things considered, it wasn't a bad show. Okay, we had some really good matches. Like I said, I think Bandito and Danielson stole the show.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pretty critical on my ratings. I think I'm usually a little lower than y'all.
Yeah.
I really would have liked to see a little bit more tribute to Jay. I really would have. Again, I blame that on the network. I don't blame it on TK because I think TK would have done whatever he could have done.
I think he's been trying to get those guys on TV for a while. And won't budge.
So, screw you, Warner Brothers. You know,
and Discovery or whatever that
Discovery
is called now.
Whatever. You guys are a bunch of jackalopes.
There you go.
But other than all, a pretty good show. I'm going 6.8.
All right.
I up next, Paul.
No, I'll go.
Oh.
I'll go. All things considered, 7.3. There were some things I didn't really agree with. There's some things that could have been done better. And I don't just mean the Jay stuff. I mean throughout the whole show. I feel like a couple spots didn't need to be where they were or could have been done differently. But, yeah, overall.
This is why I wanted to go second, because now it looks like I'm just splitting the difference with a 7-1.
Oh, well, then I should have let you go. Sorry.
This is why I wanted to go second, but it's all right.
Then it would have just looked like I wanted to have a higher rating than both of you.
I thought it was, with the tough, tragic passing of Jay last night, they did a good job with, a lot of the wrestlers' heads probably weren't fully in it tonight. They got through a good show. Crowd was pretty hot out there in Fresno. But like I told you, Paul, before we started recording, I was having trouble with putting a title on tonight's episode because I didn't feel like anything grabbed the headlines coming out of the night. So it probably, actually looking back on it, was probably Top Flight upsetting the Young Bucks. But I went with the women's storyline of the ex-WWE gals starting a feud with the AEW originals. So
I figured it out. Here's who's going to lead the ex-WWE women to victory. Stephanie Helmsley.
No, she's got a bum ankle right now.
Yeah, surgery.
She just had surgery. Yeah. And she's going to work for GCW, so.
I would bet you $100 bill that she shows up for GCW before she shows up for AEW.
Well, she's friends with the guy, so
Brett
I would
Lauderdale.
hope so.
Yeah. Brett Lauderdale and Stephanie love each other.
Yep. So, all right, wrestler of the night.
I'm going last on this one.
All right, Bandito. He wrestled a match I did not expect coming, and he did it well.
Mm-hmm.
I know he didn't win, but I felt like he gave Danielson a hell of a match. They worked well together, and he had a couple little high spots in there, but the guy can technically wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
And I was entertained. So hats off to Bandito.
Jericho's Hager's hat. Nope. Not Hager's hat.
Can I mute him, Paul? I don't have control, do I?
There we go. I muted him. I don't even know. Maybe he can unmute himself. I don't know. Yeah, he can.
Yes, I can do everything you can do, Paul.
I'm taking away your control.
Darius Martin.
Dang it. All right.
I thought he was a stronger member of Top Flight tonight. I don't say it often. I usually think Dante's a little more talented. Even though Darius is very talented, he just gets injured a lot. to have him pick up the win, that was a good sign for him and their team going forward.
And I'm going to add to that, and then I'll pick my own.
Okay.
I'm trying to buy myself some time here. And big shout out, he wrestled a match on Dynamite, and we didn't get a tweet within 30 minutes after the match that he is now on the shelf.
Well, I guess Dante was limping after the match and having to put his weight on Darius, but they're hoping it was just a work. I haven't seen anything that's not. So
Yeah, but we saw one other time on a rampage
the stretcher. Yeah,
Dante was taken out on a stretcher,
right.
And then he showed up next Wednesday night on TV. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm gonna go Darby Allin for not killing himself tonight.
I thought about it.
I mean, you could go either person from the main event match, but I'm gonna go with Darby just because he got the win, and that bump on the outside into an armbar. Oof. Yeah, that's no fun.
Going back to the Jay Briscoe stuff, I guess Tony Khan told the crowd they'd be filming a Jay Briscoe tribute show after they filmed Rampage tonight. Also said they flew in some people last minute to make this happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually reading the same thing you said there. There was a picture, and they were changing the ring skirt to yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so a couple people said, they flew in some people last minute. The first people that came to mind was FTR, which I could see. I really could.
Yeah.
They said FTR versus Young Bucks on this match. And then, of course, you had a bunch of people throwing CM Punk in there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And this has nothing to do with that, but it made me pop. Ricky Starks 13 minutes ago tweeted, "Bartender, do you want a single or double for your tequila?" He's holding up the 2. And then Bowens did the scissor emoji. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Danhausen with tiny little carrots. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But
13 minutes ago, there was a post. Here, I'll just spin it and show you guys.
Jay Briscoe and the ROH logos.
So there we go. We're going to definitely see something from them.
Yep.
I think I'm guessing by the time they film it tonight, edit it, maybe we'll see it on Honor Club tomorrow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they'll wait. Maybe they'll wait till Friday. I don't know.
Yeah. Turnaround will be pretty quick, I would think. Yeah. But yeah. But at least they're doing something. I knew Tony would try to do something. I figured he probably wasn't going to rewrite the show tonight.
No.
I know he did that for Brody Lee, but that was a little different. He had time to kind of prepare. And then that was the Daily's Place era, 2020, when there was no fans or very limited fans. So
yeah,
totally different, but still tragic nonetheless, both of them. So,
yes. Yeah.
Any closing thoughts before we let Paul take us home here?
Just that, we got to realize how lucky we are seeing some of the talent we get to see. And I know we can critique and talk bad about some people, but when all comes down to it, we're all humans.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We all got to love each other. So
yeah. Well said.
Yep.
Well said.
And I'll kind of add to that with we now have even more proof that life is fragile. So take that moment to hug your loved ones. Make sure they know that you love them.
Yep. Yeah, I can't imagine what his family's going through right now.
Yeah.
So
thoughts to them.
Yes, absolutely.
Fans, the family and friends especially, because from what I'm seeing, Jay didn't know a stranger.
No, it didn't look like it.
Yeah,
it looked like it. So for a guy that looked intimidating as about any professional wrestler out there, I think he was a pretty nice guy.
One of the obviously reading all the tweets for the last 24 hours, one of the ones that came from Seth Rollins that anytime that WWE house shows were in the area, Jay would come, drink beer, and hoot and holler at the wrestlers like he became a fan and gave them shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, everybody loved that. Like, he's like, look, he's just one of us, but
Yep.
the show drank some beer and gave us a hard time. So,
And Shep, we were texting our group message yesterday. You said you were selfishly mad that corporate America kept them off national television, and I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also selfishly mad. We got the dream match between the Briscoes and FTR. Trilogy, unbelievable trilogy, but we never got to see the Briscoes versus the Usos. That was a dream tag match I wanted to see.
And this was right before COVID. I was listening to a Cornette podcast, and they started ranking tag teams. Of course, Cornette, when it comes to tag teams, I listen to the guy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I listen to. And he started ranking them. And it was GOD, Guerrillas of Destiny, Briscoes, Usos, and FTR. Or Revival back.
Revival at the time.
Yeah.
Revival at the time. And I got to thinking. And of course, he did. I think if I re-listened to that, we'd have to go back. I think he put Young Bucks at 5, as much as it pained him. It probably killed him. And probably he made a joke about it. But those were the top 4. And then I got to thinking, man, and I think that's when one of the Usos started getting in a little trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, man, if they could, this is selfish of me, obviously, man. And he got a little trouble. Maybe they could cut him, and ROH or New Japan would pick him up, and you could see that. But yeah, that would be the one dream match that could go down in history, was the Usos versus Briscoes.
Yeah, because the Briscoes, I mean, they're going to go down as one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and they never did it on a huge national stage.
No.
And Jay right now, you can make the argument that he is the best ROH performer ever. I mean, he was in ROH for near 20 years.
He was on the first show against Amazing Red.
I think it was the first match.
Yeah,
actually, and
it was in a high school gym, and I watched it.
He held the title, had a lot of top high title quality matches. I mean, the dude did it all.
And him and Mark had a couple of great matches.
Yeah,
and he put Mark over. The last match I saw was during COVID. They had a match. This was back when we could watch ROH on our local Fox affiliate.
Yep, that's how I got. Yep,
Sunday night at 11, maybe.
Friday night at 11.
Friday night,
Friday night at 11, and I would DVR it, obviously, but it was kind of an empty arena match, and Jay put Mark over.
Yep.
So they had the chicken coop fight or the farm fight, which was great. Their promos were super entertaining.
Oh, they were.
God, and I think I sent you guys one earlier today.
It was classic.
They were at some fan fest, probably signing autographs, and they had these 2 girls interviewing them, and Mark went off script, and he got Jay to laugh. He got Jay to laugh because he's talking about how he's constipated. And,
he's stewing over there.
Yeah.
No, he's constipated.
Yeah. And it's just like, God, those guys made gold, man.
Mm-hmm.
In the last couple months when they were doing their Twitter promos, and Mark was always eating random food, and Jay was just intense. And I can't remember, it might have been Gabe Spiskolski talked about how his eyes cut you. And if you look back at his promos, man, his eyes were intense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He made you believe. So yeah, it just sucked.
It does suck.
Yeah,
it's not fun to talk about.
It's not, but it's fun to talk about all the stuff he's done in the past and how entertaining. I mean, he entertained us for forever. I mean, anytime you would turn ROH TV, the Briscoes were part of it, whether they were singles acts or tag team acts. And I mean, one of the first pay-per-views I bought was Briscoes Bucks versus SCU in a ladder match at Hammerstein Ballroom.
Oh man.
And it was a nut show.
Mhm.
I mean, those guys let it all out. I remember Bully Ray and Flip Gordon were also on the card,
I know which one you're talking about.
but
Mhm.
I don't know if it was a final battle or Death Before Dishonor or whatever the hell you call them. But I remember watching that show, and it was a hell of a match, and all those guys just killed it. Made me a fan right then, and that had to be 5 years ago, probably.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If AEW had been around 4, it'd have been maybe
Yep.
6 years ago.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's when ROH was so fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I wasn't even watching then. I caught it too late, but like going back and watching the old BTs and stuff, it's like, darn it, like I wish I was watching then because it's a fun era.
yeah. I mean, those two guys are definitely a guy, and I'll put him right there with FTR that you go, they entertain the hell out of you, but afterwards you want to go have a beer with them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And the great thing about those guys is they were a couple guys that you look like you could just walk up to and go, hey, you want to go get a beer and not have to worry about it. Some of the other guys you want to do that with, it's like, maybe I shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think I tweeted a picture yesterday with a picture says 1,000 words, and I saw a bunch of other pictures today of them at a fan fest or a signing, and little kids come up to them. I mean, they were awesome with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He had why is his name escaping me? Alexander. He's the Impact champion right now. Josh, thank you. He had a nice story today that one time he thanked Jay for playing with his boy. And Jay said, if your boy wasn't so stiff, I'd play with him for a lot longer. He said, you got a poor night tonight. He goes, you got a title match because I just got to go do a little tag match. And then he said, you and whatever Josh's wife is, you got your hands full with this one when he gets older. So I was like, that's pretty cool. Like I can just vision him playing with him backstage and stuff. So.
And I mean, one of the greatest Jay Briscoe videos ever, and I will argue this forever, came out during COVID when he was with his daughter practicing cheerleading.
Yep.
And he
had
had
a bow and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was tweeted a lot here in the last 24
hours. I saw that today for the first time. That got me pretty good. And really what got me today, honestly, was one of the first things I saw this morning when I was checking my phone was I saw the poster for Supercard coming up on March 31st or 31st, and he's on it because reigning ROH tag champ. I'm like, gosh, man, that just got punched this morning. Seeing that right away.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound insensitive, but right now, all you got to think about is them two little girls.
Oh, sure.
So,
sure. Yep.
Not that we don't want to think about Jay, but
no, it's
absolutely.
You got to think about them two little girls right now.
You're right.
Yep. Sorry, I was looking at Twitter and the IWC was making me mad.
I will say one more thing so I can end on a positive note from my standpoint. Glad to see Cody Rhodes announce he's coming back. So
yeah.
Royal Rumble.
Yep. No shock. I mean,
no, none at all.
The roads to the Rumble.
Yeah, roads to the Rumble.
And I bet he's first or second because they're gonna want him to make his full entrance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it'd be interesting to see if he go the whole. I'm sure he can, but go the whole way though.
He tweeted number 3 though. Remember, I think
that was as for his third because he tweeted 2 weeks ago when it was his first vignette video. 2, and I think I doubt he runs his own Twitter because I think that tweet came out prematurely because when he put out Instagram the following day, it was 3 again, and the video was there. So,
well, here's if they're gonna put him over, he's gonna come out number 1.
Yeah, go all the way.
He's gonna go 60 minutes. He's gonna come out number 1. He's gonna be a Shawn Michaels type esque.
You got to.
So, which is I believe the Rumble is a week from Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday night. When
did we start moving this stuff to Saturday nights?
When they figured out if they could do it without competing with the UFC.
Yeah,
And I've got a show that night, so no spoiling it for me.
I'm old school in that I like my pay-per-views on Sunday nights, even, and I know AEW does like 2 Sundays, 2 Saturdays. I get that because of the
I
NFL.
love Sunday night.
I like Sunday nights for some reason. I don't. It's I don't have anything going on Sunday nights.
Nostalgia.
Saturday nights I usually do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I want to watch the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to be at the CCAC in Warsaw.
I will have to try to tune into the Rumble. I don't watch WWE very often, but I like the Rumble. I like WrestleMania. Normally like SummerSlam, but I've missed it the last 2 years. So
Yeah. I used to love Survivor Series because I love
until they blew it.
I love the traditional Survivor Series.
Yeah.
But I'll watch the Rumble because I enjoy that. I'll skip Elimination Chamber. Is that what's in between, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'll skip that one.
And maybe like Fastlane, I think, or whatever it used to be called Fastlane.
Fastlane, Great Balls of Fire, whatever the hell they
So
call their one-offs now.
there's 2 pay-per-views in between
Yeah.
Rumble and Mania now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll watch Rumble and I'll watch Mania.
February and March.
April.
And then we get April Mania.
Yep. Yeah, because it's
Okay.
April 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah, but glad to see him back. Yeah, I mean, he looked like he's worked his butt off to get back. So
Yeah, they had a little vignette about his surgery and all that stuff. And I thought the one doctor that works for obviously Dr. Andrews basically said, look, he's a tremendous athlete, but he's still human.
Yeah, he's still got a heel. He's not John Cena, who I'll never forget that one time he came back and faced Alberto Del Rio in the Hell in a Cell after like 3 months. He was like, this guy's not human. How he heals.
No, he had some enhancements.
He had to have, didn't he? I mean, even that one year he showed up at the Rumble, like he was 3 months ahead of schedule. It's like what?
At least 3 months ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I mean, it's John Cena. I mean,
He's Superman.
He's an odd individual.
He is, but he has so many Make-A-Wish. I can't say anything bad about the guy. So.
No, you can't. As much as you want to. As much as I like the Doctor of Thugonomics over John Cena, I know I'll never see him ever again.
Hey.
You guys are forgetting the prototype.
Oh man, I cannot forget the prototype. Okay, what makes you think you can take on the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle? Ruthless aggression. Yeah, I can't even do it as good as him because my veins don't pop out like his.
Nope. So
yeah,
on that note,
I didn't forget the prototype, Shep.
On that note, wrap us up.
Yes. Hey, be sure to check out the KOP merchandise store at kickingOutshop.com. Trying to still remember that. I'm glad Tanner's giving me the nod that it is correct. So kickingOutshop.com. Get yourself some good looking merchandise. Support a great podcast. Look great doing so. Be sure to follow the Kicking Out podcast on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. And if you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, leave us that 5-star review because we are going to be the 5-star KOP. And Shep, you missed it last week. I gave a shout out to the Canadians who love you so much.
Yes.
Oh, Canada.
No more singing, Danny.
Yeah,
no more singing.
I'll stop.
All right. But be sure to listen to the Kicking Out podcast wherever it is you listen to your podcast. Like and subscribe. Give us some feedback. We're always enjoying some feedback. We enjoy communicating with you just as much as you enjoy communicating with us. Be sure to follow Tanner Lee on all social media. Unfortunately, even though you don't see it, he is the KOP predictions champion.
I'm too lazy to walk over and grab it.
Until March 5th. Be sure to follow Austin Shepard at the Shep27. Be sure to follow myself at Paul Zartman 921. And with that, for Tanner Lee and Austin Shepard, I'm Paul Zartman. Join us again next week as we kick out yet another podcast.